it's more about literal versus figurative.
Hmm.
So I had them look at images from the book we were reading, and I wanted them to create uh, image that was a feeling or a reaction, like we did in class. They recreated. They didn't understand
Hmm.
how to make something that was figurative. So I had to like explicitly teach that, explicitly give examples. We had to do one together. Then I retaught it, and then I did it again with quotes instead
Right.
of pictures, so that they didn't have like a picture to recreate. They had to
Hmm.
like work from the text.
Right.
And so you can. I found this year that I had to go back and like reteach kind of more to
Hmm.
get them to where I think they need to be. I think I maybe got off course from your question.
No, but so different student behavior in different years, and so it
Yeah,
kind of
it just
depends.
developmentally, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the positive ways, like let's say if you're looking at their behavior from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, like what can you
Uh,
see?
I mean, I think the relationships are stronger and the trust bonds are stronger
Okay.
when they are solving problems and interacting in through the arts.
Yeah.
I just think they trust each other more.
Yeah.
They share more with each other. And by the same token, the relationships can be more intense. And in older grades or younger grades, that can become hugely a positive. And then sometimes it can be a negative too because they recognize who's able to interact in this way. My class right now, it seems to be a real positive. Like they
Yeah.
are building trust, building empathy, more likely to be able to work. Now I can mix them up any which way and they're not shy. They can work with anyone else. And those are life skills. They should be able to throw into an environment, break the ice, work with somebody else, maybe not agree with them, but be able to have those social skills and empathy that regardless, they're going to be able to work with them. And that's what I'm starting to see.
Right. That's great. Because
Mhm.
my next question is, how do you see drama affect relationship skills? But I think that you have just talked about it. So,
Yeah, I think it's life skill.
yeah. And then you also talked about this a bit, but if you want to, you can add. If not, that's okay. How have you seen students' confidence or self awareness change due to drama?
Oh, definitely, I see that. You can see students. I did a spoken word club 2 years ago, and we had students that started in that club that only wanted to write. That by the end were performing in front of whole audiences at assemblies
Wow.
and in groups of strangers, like when we went to the juried performance. So you definitely see that. They go from, I'm just at the point with my class now that everybody is participating as a group, I said the next time we do an activity like this, we're going to watch half the class, and half the class is going to watch the other half
Hmm.
because they were very slow to want to like share,
Hmm.
and then we'll go to one group at a time. We're not there yet,
Yeah.
so you definitely see the confidence build. So the idea would be by the end of the year, they're very comfortable presenting to each other, sharing to anybody.
Yeah. Great.
Mhm.
And then, how have you seen drama influence students' self management skills?
So same idea because there's a lot of mindfulness in drama, guided
Hmm.
imagery, thinking to yourself, writing to yourself, time on task. It can absolutely influence because they are responsible for themselves with a group or on their own. So it teaches them that accountability and that stamina, like holding a position or listening to others respectfully. Those are all skills they need that transfer.
Hmm.
So I see the more we interact together in a focused way, then they can focus more in less structured times.
Right. Great. And then moving on to the last set of questions. Um, this is about students with learning differences and exceptionalities. So, what are your experiences working with students who have learning differences or might have accommodations or modifications?
So I think one of the things that I notice and wonder about right now, in a place where we're starting to understand more about the ASD spectrum of
Hmm.
kids, is how to make drama, as I mentioned before, both literal and figurative, and have multiple access points. So I know, for example, there may have been a student who was at the show today who won't have understood the show the same way the
Hmm.
other students understood it. So I think what I'm learning how to do is make the drama both explicit and implicit. and
Right.
to be really clear and provide different ways in, so verbal and nonverbal.
Mm.
But I noticed, for example, that one of my English language learner students was more enthusiastic about this nonverbal dance piece than she'd been about anything in a long time.
Right.
And I think that's because she could script it herself
Mhm.
at a really high level
Mhm.
and understand the story probably more clearly than anything she's read in English in my class this year.
Yeah.
And so I think that having multiple access points and ways in is part of universal design,
Mhm.
which is good for all kids, including and especially for our kids who have learning exceptionalities.
Mhm.
And I also think that working in a small group and opportunities to build those social stories and build different ways in. So I mentioned the writing. If you have an accommodated IEP for writing,
Mhm.
often one of the strategies you're going to see there is rehearse before you write it down,
Mhm.
use a graphic organizer, chunk conference with the teacher or a peer. All of those things are happening naturally in a drama classroom. We're doing all those things.
Right.
So I don't have to, it's not a far reach before I do a piece of writing if I just do a drama lesson first
Right.
and everybody knows what to do.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I think, and same thing with literacy with reading. It's not
Mhm.
a far reach, in particularly in primary. If when I do my picture book, I do a process drama or story drama,
Mhm.
I'm suddenly using universal design, and I'm scripting and cueing in all of those reading strategies ahead of time,
Mhm.
so that then when the students go to do their more traditional or written pencil paper or visual task, whatever it might be, they've already got all the ideas from what we've done in an embodied or visual or auditory way.
Mhm.
And hopefully, we have an anchor chart too, and all of those important things. Same thing with mathematics concepts. If before we build it out of manipulatives, we've created it with our bodies, like we did with the math,
Mhm.
then it will scaffold, particularly for those kids who have met other ways they need to access the information.
Right. Great. And you've also answered my next question. So then the last thing is just the influence on, so that's more student learning, but the influence on student behavior for students who have learning differences. How do you see drama affecting that?
Yeah, so I'll go back to the noticing and wondering is sometimes drama can be a little frustrating for kids that are really literal and they have
Yeah.
trouble imagining. So I have seen having to really structure, give people certain roles. So 3 or 4 years ago, when I had a young class with a kid who was really struggling with that, I had to be really intentional.
Right.
I hate drama and he hates it. And so I would have to think about what his role was going to be ahead of time so that he didn't have to perform or make a shape or whatever. And so there can be an impact that is negative,
Right.
but it's about how you like build or structure that in. And then I've seen the complete opposite.
Right.
So a kid that might act out, say, in a more traditional task or piece of learning who cannot sit still. And I have many kids like that every year.
Hmm.
Drama often activates and engages them in the same way, doing like a, I don't want to compare drama to phys ed, but the reality is that embodied learning
Yeah.
engages their whole self. And then they can more readily focus on the task afterwards because they've been able to move around and explore what they're thinking and learning physically beforehand. And so, as long as it's really focused, like with countdowns and timing and clear instructions, I find to work really, really well.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that's
Make
that's
sense?
yeah,